How do you get more out of the things that you listen to? Because listening to audio resources gives you an unprecedented way to grow as a person. Because you can add listening to an audiobook or a podcast or YouTube training or even the Bible to something that you're already doing every day. I grow by listening almost every day because I listen while I shave every day, while I make my coffee every day, while I drive to work or appointments, even while I'm weeding in the yard. But I used to listen to an entire audiobook or TED Talk and remember almost nothing from it even a week later. And if I were completely honest, I'd have to admit that was the case with books and articles that I read as well as listened to. But it was way worse with stuff that I listened to. But about 25 years ago, I was listening to this CD training set with some embarrassing title like How to Increase Your Brain Power by 10 Times. But one of the things that it taught that has dramatically changed my life over the last 25 years is the fact that our brains are not designed to remember stuff just because we highlight them in yellow. But if we would formulate a question, like from the principle that we just read, and then write that question in the margin of the book, our brains automatically begin to try to find an answer to that question, so they engage immediately. And if you do this with every book you read, when you finish every book, you have a personalized small group discussion guide for that book. So I started doing this, and I would say that immediately what I retained from every book that I read increased by like 50 to 60%. Hey, I had tried like several different methods to try to retain more, to try to apply more in every book that I read, and nothing comes even close to when I started writing a question in the margin of the book every couple pages as I was reading. Of course, this had zero effect when I listened to a podcast or a YouTube TED Talk because those things, they have no margins to write in. But then text-to-talk became a thing. So I began to listen to stuff with a note open on my phone. And whenever something impacted me every few minutes, I would just touch that icon and it would stop the audio automatically. I would ask the question, it would write it down, and then I would hit it again, and then the audio starts again. And I immediately saw that just looking for a question as I listened caused me to engage with the content more actively and way less passively. The question could be how to better apply a concept or how to better understand a concept. For example, if I was listening to this particular audio resource, I might touch my little icon and ask it the question, what routine that I'm constantly doing regularly in my life could I just add some audio content to? You'll notice that since I have my gardening gloves on, that I'm using my handy dandy stylus with a little squishy thing on top so I can start text to text my finger when my glove won't actually do it. And these are not expensive. Like I got one at a dollar store, which interestingly enough, now everything costs $1.25 in. I guess at the dollar store now, dollar is a little more of a metaphorical expression, but I digress. Don't feel pressure to come up with a whole bunch of questions. You might just come up with a few questions about content that is particularly meaningful to you. Often I'll have my phone read an article to me while I'm driving, and then I'll listen to the whole article, and then I'll just think about what I just heard, and then I'll formulate one question based on the entire article. So I may have a note that I have questions from all the different articles that I read throughout the week, and then I may have another note from a particular book that I'm reading that week. So I want to encourage you to pick one routine that you do regularly during the week and just add audio content to that routine and just see what happens. I believe you'll find this to be a great advantage. And you may find that you're stimulating your mind in an activity that used to get you frustrated, like sitting in traffic. Or you may find that your mind becomes active and productive at a time like brushing your teeth when you used to just worry about the day. And you become far more knowledgeable in whatever area that you've chosen to listen in. And to increase your knowledge is a great benefit. But by far the greatest benefit is that now you're doing something about what you do. I would encourage you to do one more thing. Set aside a little time every week, like even 10 or 20 minutes, to consider the questions that you've written and how you might act on one of them. And then schedule that action into your calendar, your task list, or whatever system you use to manage your life. And if you don't have a system like that, I would encourage you to listen to some audio resources on how to create a system to manage your life. So let's review. Number one, choose an activity, a routine activity that you do a lot. You can just add listening to audio content to. So number two, from time to time while you're listening, use talk to text to pause and ask a question that goes in a note that is about something meaningful that you just heard. Number three, Take a little time every week to review the questions that you wrote down that week. Number 4, do something. Schedule yourself to actually take action on something that you just reviewed based on your question. Number 5, become a better human, and that's how you get the most out of everything you listen to.